It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of July 9th, 2003. And we only got two movies to look at today, and two notable movies. One, as both are very similar, but very different in how successful they were. So let's not waste any more time, and let's just go ahead and get right to it. And let's start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and that is, of course, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. You know, this is Disney taking another theme park attraction after what they did with the Country Bears the year before. Now they're taking the Pirates of the Caribbean and turning it into an action movie in general. Most people didn't really think that they were going to get a whole lot from this, but then this trailer came out, and it pretty much showed you that Disney wasn't playing around.
You don't know what this is, do you? Aztec gold. The heathen gods placed on the gold a terrible curse. 10 years we searched. Every last piece we have found, save for this. They've taken Elizabeth. Welcome aboard the Black Pearl. We must save her. Where do we start? Jack Sparrow. He talked about the Black Pearl. Make a deal with him. He can lead us to it. You forget your place. The blacksmith. If you spring me from this cell, I shall take you to the Black Pearl and your bonny lass. You're a pirate. Forgot one very important thing, mate. Captain Jack Sparrow. Not sure if it's You're not facing normal pirates, but cruel, demented, vicious pirates, to be certain. Say goodbye. Goodbye. But cruel, demented, vicious pirates who cannot be killed. The moonlight shows us what we really are. That's interesting. We have a curse, man.
I don't believe in ghost stories anymore.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one. Can't you all remember Captain Jack Sparrow? Kill him.
You like pain? Try wearing a corset.
Here they come.
Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl.
I mean, Jesus Christ, that looks so friggin' awesome. And yet you completely forget that that's Disney putting this out. Disney in 2003. And we'll delve more into that in just a second here. But the story, as you can tell, is you have a pirate, Jack Sparrow, played by Johnny Depp, and a blacksmith, played by Orlando Bloom. They have to rescue the kidnapped Elizabeth Swann, played by Keira Knightley, from the cursed crew of the Black Pearl, captured by Hector Barbarossa, played by Jeffrey Rush, who become undead skeletons at night. Again, keep in mind, this is 2003, and Pirates of the Caribbean was a huge risk for Disney at the time. Nowadays, when Disney whenever makes a bomb, it hurts them for a little bit, but then they do something like a Marvel movie, a Pixar movie, or a Star Wars film, and then all of a sudden it makes billions back for the studio, and everything is all fine and dandy. But in 2003, that wasn't always the case. Disney still was susceptible to financial disasters and box office bombs. I mean, their animation department pretty much has shown around this time period that not everything that they put out was an instant winner, especially with some of their 2D animated films at the time. But then again, you know, you had Finding Nemo to piggyback on if this failed, but a $140 million budgeted film in 2003, even Disney isn't safe from failure all the time, especially back then. Also keep in mind, this is Disney's first PG-13 rated feature. Like, not from Touchstone, not from Hollywood Pictures, Disney. You know, this was when Touchstone and Hollywood Pictures were kind of in the twilight years of their long runs, because those used to be the adult studios for Disney, and then they just kind of like faded into obscurity. Miramax used to be there too, but then they spun off into the Weinstein Company. And one executive for Disney even said that she found the film too intense for a 5-year-old child. Nonetheless, the studio was confident enough to add the Curse of the Black Pearl subtitle in case sequels actually get made and to attract older children. In fact, Gore Verbinski disliked the new title because it's about the Aztec gold rather than the ship that is cursed, so he wanted the title to be more unreadable on the poster. Gore Verbinski wasn't even a big box office draw at this point. I mean, he had made some notable hits like Mouse Hunt. What was the other one he did? The Mexican, which came out a couple years before this. So that's another caveat you're adding in here, because you've got a relatively unknown director handling a big blockbuster film, which nowadays, that's usually the death note if they're not doing it the right way. And probably the biggest thing that hurting this film in the long run from before it got released, they were expecting this to be a flop because the pirate genre had not been successful for a number of years. Cutthroat Island, coming out 8 years prior, was one of the most notable flops of all. It was also based on a theme park ride. Johnny Depp had little track record as a box office leading man, mostly for starring in cult films and little critically acclaimed indie films for the most part. So, with a blockbuster here and there, but nothing too significant. So, there were a lot of big things going against the film when it was coming out, and nevertheless, it defied the expectations. I mean, it became a monster hit, making over $654 million worldwide. Was a big Oscar contender, too. I mean, Johnny Depp got a Best Actor nomination at the Oscars for this. I mean, it just goes to show you how just unprecedented this movie was for a number of different reasons, and how it eventually cemented Disney's future from that point forward, because they would try to do the same thing with the same kind of concept, and most times it would work, sometimes not so much. But when it comes to the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, I'm not the biggest fan in general. As far as The Curse of the Black Pearl goes, it's overall alright. It's a fun adventure film that has some pretty impressive visuals that do still hold up well over time. The action can be very solid, the script is well done, Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow just works so well. You see why he got the nomination, because he just makes that character his own. Every time he's on screen, he breathes a lot of charisma and charm to it, a new life to the film. And this was back when Depp still had what it takes to entertain people without just, getting behind makeup and just doing the same thing he does in every other movie. I mean, this is a performance that just works so well for him. I mean, it's just a film that, it's a fun adventure film. I'm not the biggest fan of this series, like I said, but this is probably the one I would say that I do like the best. And I think most people can agree it's the best one of this series, as most of the sequels don't really live up to the enjoyment factor of this one. But this is a fun film, a good fun time. It's fun overall. I mean, what more can I say? It's a good fun film. It showed what Disney can do with a bigger blockbuster caliber film, and it proved very successful for them. It was part of a very good year for them in terms of their finances going forward. But yeah, that's Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Now, if you want to talk about a high-risk property that did not work so well, behold our last film we have here, and that is Sean Connery in The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. If you don't know Sean Connery is in this commercial will pretty much tell you that every 5 seconds.
Season of sequels. Sean Connery is back in the most original adventure movie of the summer.
Well, it's about time.
The Wall Street Journal cheers. It's good fun.
And the game is on.
Connery still saves the day.
Perfect.
It's magnificent. Jeffrey Lyons raised. You're in for the time of your life.
Eyes open, boy.
LXG is the summer's smartest, most exhilarating action attraction.
Cheers.
The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, rated PG-13, now playing.
I mean, how much money did Sean Connery pay these people to put his name all over the trailer for that? I mean, every 5 seconds, it's Sean Connery this, Sean Connery that. Like, all the critical reviews are Sean Connery, like, he's the main focus of the film, which, I mean, it's more of an ensemble piece, but let me just put it this way. Sean Connery turned down the Matrix trilogy as well as playing Gandalf in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Those would have given him $450 million altogether. And he said, I'm not going to blow my opportunity on this one. I'm going to go to this one because I think this will be a profitable success. He agreed to this he was paid $17 million, a sum that left the filmmakers with little flexibility to track other high-profile stars, because if you look at the rest of the cast, you've got notable character actors or people that aren't as successful, like Peter Wilson from Lathan Nikita, Stuart Townsend, Shane West, Jason Fleming, Richard Roxburgh. I mean, there's not a lot of big names for a movie like this, which seems like an awesome concept in general, but man, not so much. So in the film, you have renowned adventurer Alan Quatermain, played by Connery, who leads a team of extraordinary figures with legendary powers to battle the technological terror of a madman known as the Phantom, played by Richard Roxburgh. The league comprises of seafarer and inventor Captain Nemo, played by Nasruddin Shah, Vampires Mina Harkin, played by Peter Wilson. Vampirist Mina Harker. Mina Harker. Good lord. Mina Harker. I keep thinking of that cartoon that used to be on What a Cartoon on Cartoon Network. Mina and the Count. You got an Invisible Man named Rodney Skinner, played by Tony Curran. American Secret Service agent Tom Sawyer. The ageless and invincible Dorian Gray, played by Stuart Townsend. And the dangerous split personality of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, played by Jason Fleming. It's been said that Alan Moore hates it when his novels get transferred to the big screen, and after watching this movie, you can kind of see why. They not only destroy everything that made The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen such a great graphic novel to begin with, but they also just take a big shit on logics and physics whatsoever. It's a movie so bad that Sean Connery literally retired from filmmaking after this. Like I said, this is the guy that turned down the Matrix trilogy and the Lord of the Rings trilogy and did this, and basically said, you know what, I'm done. I've been in Outland, I've been in Meteor, I've been in Medicine Man, I've been in the Avengers. Fuck this shit, I'm out. I kind of changed my accent there to Sean Connery's Scottish accent, but you get the idea here. That's how bad this movie is. So, really, what's wrong with the film? Pretty much everything. It looks so dark and gritty, and I don't mean that as a compliment. I can't see what the hell's going on at times because this movie is so horribly shot. You cannot see anything at all. When the scenes take place at nighttime, you can barely make out what's going on in here. I mean, if you're watching this in the daytime, you can literally see reflections of the sun while you're watching the movie. And it's just like, even with an HD version, it's just like, what is going on here? And like, it's like that throughout the entire film. The casting is so awful in this. Not a single person in this cast looks or sounds like they want to be there. Sean Connery quit acting because of this, and really, he looked at this and said, hey, I'm making $17 million for this, but this isn't worth it. I mean, like, Sean Connery literally got paid $17 million to star in this and produce the film, and because of this, they couldn't hire any other big actors, so who did he get? The lead guy from A Walk to Remember and the first TV Nikita, who are also terrible in the movie, too, because they're not really given anything to work with here. But hey, it's not the fault of that they were bad in this. I mean, the script is just a bad movie. This writer is James Dale Robinson, who's best known for writing comics. He wasn't even involved with any previous lead comics, so basically they hire a comics guy who has no idea who these characters are in this book and just makes a bland, forgettable action film that makes no sense whatsoever. There's a car chase in Venice. There's a car chase in Venice, which will be fine except for one little problem. Venice doesn't have any roads suitable for a car chase. Like, it's like they didn't even try. They didn't even read the comics as they were making the movie. Because, as Roger Ebert himself said in the Ebert and Roper review for this, there are no streets in Venice. So the cars would go into a canal or crash into a bridge. I mean, just, is it really that hard to do your research on this? Like, I know this was back when people just didn't give a shit and just said, this is popular. This is a popular comic book. Comic books are the thing. We want to make a movie out of it. Why don't you get people who are actually involved with the comic or know more about the comic to actually make the movie? And a couple years later, that would have actually been the trend. But that more than tells you enough about how bad this movie is. It doesn't even pay respects to the original novel. I mean, it's trying to represent... It's a poorly casted film. The visuals are absolutely abysmal. The cinematography is terrible. The plot makes no sense. Sean Connery literally wastes his career away with this film and just has nothing of value to it whatsoever. I mean, it's one of the worst comic adaptations ever made. And just when you think it couldn't get any worse... This is a DC property. Guess what their next movie is after this? Catwoman. 2004 is going to be a ton of fun, I can tell you that much. So on that positive note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. And the next time we meet, we'll take a look at 4 more movies, including Will Smith and Martin Lawrence back again in Bad Boys 2. We also have Rowan Atkinson in another one of his hit movies from Britain coming all the way to the U.S., and this is Johnny English. Mandy Moore starring in How to Deal, and also Dirty Pretty Things with Chiwetel Ejiofor, Audrey Tautou in a film by Stephen Frears. So we'll take a look at those 4 movies on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the plays on the next page, check out the previous episode, and also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So with that said, I am off. I will see you guys next time, and until then, as always, take care.